Hello everyone, welcome to April Calgary Real Estate Market Update. I'm Uros Markovic, a realtor with Real Broker and Redline Real Estate Group. And today I have a ton to talk to you about. But before we start, please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and feel free to share your opinion in the comment section below. You have heard and read headlines and even watched some videos predicting a massive market correction. Toronto market have seen price corrections and slowdown in sales numbers in March. So what is really happening in a real estate market in Calgary? Did raising inflation and interest cool the markets down? Some folks I talked to said they knew this wouldn't last and people were overpaying earlier this year. Have you heard some of this or been a part of some of these discussions? Well, those thoughts are out there. You see, the reality is that the most people are not really in a position of strength to fully understand what is going on. But people that follow me know that I'm a very straightforward guy and give straightforward answers. So that's why I love creating these updates for you, to give you the straight talk and curb any anxiety you might have about today's real estate climate. So let's start with sales. The first thing you may have heard is that the sales have dropped. Well, yes, they have, that's true, no questions there. Calgary area did not record as many sales in April as we did in March. But honestly, nobody should have expected that. March was a unique month, and who knows when it will repeat itself again. However, April saw an increase in sales over the last year April by about 6% overall. This varied widely between the property types, and detached saw 9% decline in sales, while row apartments saw a gain over 40%, and our semi-detached market was basically flat. So how can be such a wide variety of result, you might be asking? Well, honestly, it comes down to a few simple things. Thing number one is inventory. With more inventory hitting the market and more on markets to buy, you will naturally see higher number in sales while we're in a seller's market like we are right now. Each of the four market categories saw a drastically different numbers of new listings coming to market in April. And the thing number two would be the pricing. As house values increase, affordability come into question. So for buyers who haven't seen increases in their pay to match these increased home values, they're turned from detached buyers to semi-detached buyers, for semi-buyers to row home buyers, and from row to apartments. Now, this variety of sales activities is not only being seen in the metro market of Calgary, but also in the communities around Calgary. Again, the two factors I just mentioned, the inventory and pricing, come into play here, and I will explain a bit more as we go through this update. Okay, let's turn our attention to the inventory story. As a whole, we saw fewer new homes hitting the market this April than we saw come to market in April 2021. This was the first time in a while that this has occurred. Now again, this is not even across the board, and here is the breakdown. Detached homes saw an 8% year-over-year drop of new properties coming to market, while semis dropped by 17%. Row homes, meanwhile, had a 24% increase, and apartments saw a slight inventory increase of 7%. So, if you have followed me so far, you will notice this trend. Fewer new listings in a detached market for buyers to look at resulted in a drop in the total sales. An increase in the new listings in row homes buyers resulted in an increased sales. It is just a part of the flow of the market, and there is no need to panic, as some seems to be doing. Alright, well, let me give you a few hard facts. As a whole, sales remain up, inventory remains down. As a result, pressure on our housing values goes up, which we see is continuing to happen. So let's talk about the pricing. Year over year, the overall benchmark price in the region is up 17%. Detached homes are up 19%, semis are up by 16%, row homes are up by 17%, and apartments are up by 8%, for the biggest year-over-year gain since 2006. The home value increases we started to see in 2021 are continuing to build the strength, and the sustainability of this run is proving itself more so each and every day. Please allow me to explain. Well, first, it is everywhere. Check out this graph. There isn't a sector that is not at least achieving an 8% year-over-year price gain. The entire market is now getting into gear. It shows strength in all price ranges and all economic situations. And we are only just getting started. As you can see, we have only seen really 1 year of this upward trend. Pre-COVID Calgary area had very little to cheer about. The pandemic hit in April 2020 as our market was at a rock bottom. 2021 was our awakening year and handled a lot of that pent-up demand from 2020. Then this year is our first true representation of our market performing fully on its own, without being influenced by outside factors. And when markets start to adjust upwards, it doesn't happen just once. It becomes 2, 3, 4 and more year run. And we are just at the beginning. You see, the biggest issue back in those days from 2015 to 2020 wasn't the demand for buying home was so low. It was just that we had backed ourselves into the corner, with the total number of homes on the market being way too high, putting negative pressure on our housing market for years. So it took a few years to correct that, going from negative year-over-year numbers to a flatline situation and now to position of seeing value bumps. Again, this is a situation that we are just starting to see. And like I said earlier, we are seeing this all across Calgary's 8 districts and across entire region. The rewriting of Alberta's script from COVID, oil prices, diversification, the unaffordable cost of living in other major Canadian cities, and the still low interest rates, yes, despite the recent bumps, the rates are still very low, has created a sustained path to increased house prices. And as shown by the following graph, this gap is here to stay for a while. The red line represents the benchmark price, while the green line shows the months of supply. As you can see, our prices are rising while our months of supply are very low, indicating that we can expect to see continued price appreciation for some time. And speaking of pricing, I will share one of the interesting facts for homeowners. As of this month, we marked a $100,000 increase in a benchmark sales price from the beginning of 2021. The average Calgary homeowner has added $100K to their overall net worth without, of course, factoring any other household debt that might be added in the meantime. It is a very positive sign for Alberta. With increased equity in our homes come so many positive things in our economic growth in our region. And this is all for this month, and thank you for staying with me until the end. If you would like to talk about the impact of this market on your own personal real estate plans, please don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is in the description below.